Vigilant Christain Mario, and you're here for another edition of Illuminati Media Exposed. In today's video, I'm going to be showing you how Satan is using My Little Pony to destroy young men everywhere. There's actually a huge problem with this. So in this video here today, I'm going to be showing you that. So let's get right into it. Now, for those of you who don't know what My Little Pony are, it's basically these little dolls that you can go and buy at the store, and they also have a television show that's very popular. Now, as you can see here on the left, we have the Illuminati eye. So all throughout the TV show, I'm not even going to spend that much time on it, but there is occult esoteric symbolism that's being used. Just quickly to identify a few here. Here you have the eye in the pyramid, pretty blatant, and it literally looks like they're bringing in the Antichrist with the sun god wheel on the left here, and these type of sphere enlightenment sun ray type of symbolism. So I'm not going to take too much time. They even had the Bohemian Grove owl featured in an episode, owl, satanic worship. But that's not really the point. What I wanted to talk about here today more than anything is the devastating effects that this TV show is having on young men everywhere. Absolutely confusing them. And this is from Satan. I've talked about this in a previous video, and I'll leave it linked up for you to check out in the description section. The Satanic Agenda to confuse the sexes exposed. Created equal, but different. In this video, I outline how Satan is trying to confuse the sexes by playing a little game on them psychologically, by making them think that if we're not the same, then we can't be equal. Although God created us different and equal, Satan wants you to believe that in order to be equal, we must be the same. But just on a biological level, we see that that is not reality. Women have been given a different physical body, and men as well. And because of that, we will have different roles in our nature, in the functioning of the roles that we would have naturally as two separate sexes that would come together. Now, the beauty of this is God created men weak and women strong in the areas where men are weak, and vice versa. There's this beautiful coming together that happens. But Satan is a deceiver. He wants to confuse mankind, and that is what he is actively doing, making little boys believe that it is okay to embrace a very feminine type of character and attitude. But this is against God. God created them man and woman, not men, woman all together and we're all one. No, yes, we are one species, we are mankind, but woman and man, there's a difference, and we need to embrace that, and there's nothing wrong. We are equal. Men are better than women, and women are better than men. Anyways, I'm not going to take too much time. Check the video out. That's what the Satanic Agenda it is, and it's to confuse little men like this, little boys, so that they never really truly become true men of God who are going to fulfill their purposes. They will only remain immature, young, confused boys, because Satan has confused their sexuality. There is an absolute misconception in our world today as to what true manhood is. It is not very feminine, where you're buying little dolls and you're behaving like a little girl. And on the other side, it's not a beer drinking, MMA watching, football playing manly man. In fact, neither of those are true representations of manhood. A manhood is described in the Bible as strong, bold, courageous, but also capable of extending compassion, understanding, mercy, and grace. I've talked about the biblical manhood perspective a lot on my channel, so you can go back to check out my manhood series to see what God has to say about what a real man is, and it is nothing that Spike TV is going to tell you a man should be, or unfortunately these confused young men who are becoming very feminine. Anyways, we won't spend too much time, but that's essentially what we're witnessing here is Satan effectively using this My Little Pony vehicle in order to confuse the individual. The Bible very clearly says in the book of 1 Corinthians chapter 16 verses 13 to 14, it says, "Be watchful, stand firm in the faith, act like men. Be strong." And as you can see here, I took this one because the act like men is highlighted in orange. This is something that God tells us as men to do. And he's not saying act like a man. That means have a beer and go watch Spike TV and all that nonsense that the testosterone Arnold Schwarzenegger propaganda man which is also another satanic representation of manliness and manhood, tells you that it should be. But God tells us that we as men should be acting like men, lion and lamb, beautiful manhood that only can be actualized through God and his instruction in his holy word. Another thing that's very interesting in the Bible, it also says that it is disgusting. It is not right for a man or a woman to dress in the other sex's clothes. To do so is disgusting to the Lord. It is an absolute abomination. And this is what we're seeing in the world today. The confusion of the sexes. We're seeing that men are becoming more feminine and women are being encouraged to be more manly. This is, again, a satanic agenda to confuse the sexes, to break apart the family. The family needs that the parents understand their role. The man needs to know how to be a good man and provider and husband and father, and the woman needs to be a good nurturer, woman, mother. Satan wants to destroy the family in order that we would rely on the state only and not the communities that are built up by a strong fabric of families. This is his agenda. So this is part of it. Be on guard. This is not true manhood, and I would just ask that I'm not laughing at these people. I'm not trying to mock them. You know, this is of concern to me as a Christian. This is my worldview, and to me, this is very concerning to see the confusion that comes about from what we're seeing in the world today. This thing where men don't know how to be men and women don't know how to be women, and consequently, what's happening is, look at the divorce rate. That's a reflection of men not knowing how to be men and women not knowing how to be women and being married. Look, we're failing. The entire fabric of society will fall apart when the family falls apart. Don't get it twisted. That is another thing that Satan is doing through the homosexual agenda, to push the idea to people that they're born that way, even though there's tons of chemicals in the food that they're eating, the water, and that they're born with hormonal problems. Yeah, we're not going to talk about that. You know, so they confuse the living daylights out of the kids, and all this is just to destabilize the family. They want us completely dependent. Even the women's liberation movement, although it looks like it was something positive to liberate women, it really wasn't. It was funded by the Rockefellers, who are an Illuminati family trying to bring about a one world government. And all they were doing is trying to break apart the family so that they could tax two people, husband and now wife, and also that it would be easier to get the kids away from the parents. You know, if the mom's at work, she ain't there to protect the parents from the mind control that can come through the schools, and that's where they get the kids. They're literally going to be parenting. The state will be parenting our children, not ourselves. So this is all part of the agenda, and this is what we're seeing rolled out here. These poor young boys who are being satanically confused about what it is to be true men, embracing this satanic feminism in their lives, and this is not what men should be doing. Another interesting thing to point out in closing here, I mean, they're showing their true colors. They even had apocalyptic horse toys, My Little Ponies from hell. They had a legitimate the Four Horsemen. Here they are. So this is the spirit behind this company, flashing esoteric Illuminati symbolism, being responsible for sexually confusing men all across the world. They're actually called bronies. It's a phenomenon. It's a known phenomenon. These guys, they call themselves bronies, and they probably have like little conventions where they get together and share their dolls and talk about how awesome My Little Pony is. When these are men that should be rising up for the kingdom of God, standing for righteousness and truth, progressing the kingdom of our Lord, but Satan has them trapped and bound in something that is very immature, very unmanly, and is really an embarrassment to the man that God created us to be, you know. But there you have it, brothers and sisters and everyone watching. Oh, yeah, and I just wanted to point out, because I can almost hear the objections coming from people who don't hold a Christian worldview, that, you know, you're being extremely judgmental. These people are born that way. You're not taking that into consideration. Well, Let me tell you something. Have you taken into consideration that it is probably a hormonal problem? Did you know that BPA and many chemicals are being added to our diets, and all they're doing is raising our estrogen levels? In the description section below, men, you can find this diet, the best breakfast for men. This is actually a great way to raise up your testosterone. There is an active chemical war against your hormonal state right now. They want to create hormonally imbalanced men so that they can sexually confuse them with their gay homosexual propaganda through TV and music and the school systems. The chemical is what is causing these men to believe themselves to be confused. If you are full of estrogen, just chock full of estrogen, no wonder you feel very feminine. I myself am not proud of this, but at an earlier point in my life, I did experiment with steroids, so I was playing around with my hormones, and you know what? That stuff can really mess you up. It can make you feel things and have thoughts, and for example, raising testosterone levels can, cause violence and things like this. So raising estrogen levels can cause extreme feelings of being feminine and weak and crying and things like this, and very in tune with your feminine side, but you're just full of BPA and chemicals that raise your estrogen. So everyone out there, it's time that we recognize there is a biochemical war against us to destabilize the family, to destroy the very fabric of society, to bring in the new world order. And this is all part of using these little dolls. This is the Vigilant Christain saying God bless each and every one of you. As always, stay vigilant and fear no evil.